Good morning. We'll call the Wednesday morning, January 14th, 2026 Criminal Justice Committee to order. Start with roll call, please.
Mr. Hess?
Present.
Mr. Lowy?
Present.
Mr. Carrico? Mr. Long? Mr. Hunter? Miss Andrade? Miss Rittman-Akemi? Miss Amber Turner? Mr. Marion? Mr. Crutcher? Dr. Nims? Miss Denise Turner? Mr. Llewellyn? Mr. Benoit? Mr. Taden? Mr. Alexander Hildebrand? We do have a quorum.
Okay. I have not received anything for public comment. Is there any public comment at this time? Any public comment? Move on to the approval of the minutes from December 10th, 2025. Take a motion to approve that. Mr. Carrico, second by Mr. Marion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Up next, Chief Judge, Mr. Dickinson. Welcome to the committee. You didn't bring donuts on your first meeting?
I did not, no.
Take a seat right there. I was just joking when I said that, by the way.
I realize, but if I get stones thrown in my car, I suppose I know where they're coming from. Just wanted to say good morning. I'm excited to work with all of you on the committee coming forward. I'm just getting into the administrative side, so I don't have much to report today. I know Judge Cunnington's been briefing you at these meetings generally about the courthouse reconstruction project. There's not a lot that's gone on with that since the last meeting. So otherwise, I have no report, and I'm happy to be here.
Any questions for the Chief Judge?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Up next, Ms. Cianci from the Circuit Clerk's Office. You have a copy of Sandy's report in the packet. Take a motion to approve that. Mr. Lowy, second by Mr. Llewellyn. Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning. So just for my general report, if anybody has any questions or comments, I can answer those now.
Any questions on the report? We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
So I was able to get a report from Tyler on our e-filing progress that we did for 2025. So that's what this other page is with the chart on it. So I divided it up according to the categories in which we have it lined up in our case management system. So we opened a total of 17,875 brand new cases last year alone. And then I just did the pie chart to show you what the visual is of what that looks like. So 11,131 criminal cases, 5,348 civil, and then family, and then probate. So I'm just going to take bits and pieces here and there just to kind of highlight from that spreadsheet. It was, well, there's another page that I'll show you too with our e-filing that we did 69,000, almost 63,000 e-filings that we received too. It's a lot of work that our people do on top of, you know, working with the customers and going to court and, you know, the counter and all that stuff. So 63,000 e-filed. When we were doing the paper filing where we would have to print it off and then rescan it back in, that's what we were doing before. So if you can imagine 63,000 items plus, you know, a lot of them were not even just one pages. So we're saving a lot of money now that we have gone with the e-filing altogether, because we receive it electronically and then we just transfer it over to the other systems. So we're doing really well with that. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, we had a meeting, I brought together Craig Long and Chairman Matt and a few others, and then the stakeholders. So it would have been Trent Bukowski from the Sheriff's Department, and Jim Rowe and Melody, Lori Wolf from the Judge's Office, my staff, and we got together to talk about the case management system and Tyler going forward. So we've identified we have a project schedule that we've created, and we've identified 5 of the main projects that we want to focus and hone in on to get this all wrapped up and completed. The first one is the collections project with the feed to Harris & Harris. We are 90%, 95% ready to go with that. We should be ready by the end of the month. We had a successful export. We still have another couple of things to troubleshoot to get that finished, but we're close. So we should be able to turn the collection files over to Harris this year finally. Then another project that we're working on is the record on appeal builder, and then e-signatures, so that when the judges have orders in court, they could have it electronically sent to them. They can sign it, and then it just all flows through the computers. We're starting slow. We're starting with civil orders. We've been creating a couple of forms and working with judges Slawinski and Jones in the family division, trying to start there and then work our way forward with that. Then we also have some work with the attorney manager on the state's attorney side, and then e-citation will be one of the last ones. It was helpful that when we had everybody in the room, that Trent was telling us the things that they have, their projects moving forward, so that once we get that connection done, then we can work on getting the e-citations. So when the officers are in their squad cars and they create the citation, and then at the end of their shift, they would dock it, into a file and then transmit it over to us, rather than printing out all the papers and then having someone bring the papers to our office and then going on. So I think we're going to have some positive movements here in a couple of months. So just happy to report that.
Questions on that for Sandy?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Up next, State's Attorney's Office. In the package, you have a copy of the grand jury report and the grand jury statistics report. Take a motion to combine and approve those. Mr. Carrico, and second by Mr. Crutcher. Good morning again, Mr. Cockman.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. How are you?
Wonderful.
I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has on the report.
Any questions on the report? We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Up next, Public Defender's Office, Mr. Pennewick. You have a copy of his monthly report in the packet. Take a motion to approve that. Mr. Lowry, and second by Ms. Andrade. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Hess. Any questions on the report? I have nothing else to add.
Any questions? We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I have nothing to add unless someone else has any other questions about any other matter.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Up next, you have probation, Mr. Latham. In fact, you have a copy of Tom's monthly report. Take a motion to approve that. Mr. Llewellyn, second by Ms. Andrade.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I just looking over the report compared to last year. Just hit a few bullet points here. Overall contacts compared to last year remained consistent, just under about 26,000 total. So we're happy with that. Our drug testing increased by about 18% over last year. Wow. Or I should say in 25 or 24. And investigations, reports we do for the court, there's a group of them, including pre-sentence investigations, increased from 464 reports in 24 to 509 last year. So an increase. Total caseloads supervised by our department increased by about 28%. And that'd be basically all, or mostly or all, in our adult division. Juvenile numbers have not climbed. So, but the biggest change in our juvenile division was in detention days. Our total days decreased, specifically the ones held at River Valley, from 1,598 days in 24 to 887 days last year, about a 48% decrease.
That's great.
Yeah, so sometimes that's just the way it flows. Sometimes not having juveniles charged as adults Sometimes that runs up the numbers because they're held longer. In juvenile detention, it's just one of those things. But at $225 a day, that adds up. The detention. There are some minors held at, they're charged as minors, but held at juveniles, but held at Jerome Combs Detention Center. That number decreased a little bit from 603 to 508 last year, total days. So both of them kind of trended down. But I don't want that quick unless there's any questions.
Mr. Kretcher,
Appreciate it. Why are the juveniles being held at Jerome's?
Well, once they turn 18,
Right.
they're charged as juvenile. Once they turn 18, usually they're transported back here at on the next time they come to court. Now, if they're charged as an adult
Yeah.
and turn 18, they get them out there right away because obviously they're an adult charged as an adult. So
Gotcha. Oh, thank you.
yeah.
any other questions? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed,
Aye.
same. Oh, he's on. Good morning, Steve.
I don't know what's happening, having technical difficulties, but I had to call the Zoom number in as opposed to doing it the regular way. Thanks a lot for accommodating me.
Okay. Okay, anything else?
The only thing, Roger, on our report, if you have it in front of you at the bottom right in the middle, the juvenile detention and home confinement on the right side, halfway down. We changed that for you. There was some confusion.
Yeah.
You see that? Does that make more sense?
Yep.
You can see what was there at the beginning of the month, what was detained during the month,
Yep.
and what the end of the month is.
Yep.
And it lays out better than we had it before.
Yep.
Okay. That's it.
Okay, any other questions for Tom? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Up next, the sheriff. In the package, you have a copy of the sheriff's monthly report. Take a motion to approve that by Mr. Lowry, second by Ms. Andrade. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
A couple things, just briefly on the report. We know what our numbers were doing and what our out-of-county numbers did last year. I can tell you that in September of 2025, we were averaging 147 out of county. We are now up to 160. So that number has steadily increased, which we have talked about, which is a good thing. And I think based on some of the information we're getting, that number should continue to increase a little bit. So other than that, without the report, I'll kind of speed this up a little bit and go through our statistics, which obviously is part of the report, but there's a PowerPoint there. If you take a look at the screen,
Hang on, let's do the approval of the report first.
Okay.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same
Aye.
sign. Motion carries. No, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So these are numbers from 2025. Some of these graphs you'll see date back. I think most of the graphs date back from 2015 through 2025, which is 11 years actually. And then I think there's one slide on here that goes back almost to 20 years, I believe. So, all right, what do I push here? It's the arrow. Oh, there we go. All right. That's just our mission statement. Take a look at that. It's been our mission statement for a long time. I think our guys on both sides do a great job in following our mission. Calls for service, this is countywide. You can see that on the left-hand column, you've got all the calls for service from all the police agencies. As you can see, between Kankakee County and the city of Kankakee, between the two of us, we account for 62% of the calls for service in the county. This is 11 years of calls for service. Calls for service fluctuate for a number of reasons, and this is just strictly Kankakee County. This is strictly the sheriff's office. Paper service, business checks, and truthfully, what's going on in the community. So those numbers will fluctuate, but pretty consistent for the most part. These are calls for service per month, each month throughout the year. And you can see that those numbers, that graph is fairly consistent across the board. Calls for service by time of day. Oop, did I go too fast? Yep, there we go. So you can see between 1 and 2 in the morning, our calls for service are significant. Between 9 and 1 in the daytime, and from 5 to 9 in the evening. Most of the evening calls for service are paper service, which we're required to do by statute. Business checks, a lot of business checks are done on our midnight shift. And same thing with daytime serving papers. We don't, for obvious reasons, we don't serve papers at midnight. We're not gonna knock on somebody's door at 2 in the morning to serve them a paper, unless we have to. Sometimes people try to avoid service, so at that point we'll do what we can to get that person served. But and why, somebody may ask, why is this important? Why are we paying attention to this? This allows us to allocate our resources appropriately to make sure that we have adequate staff doing the things that we have to do. So that resource allocation for us is key. This is basically a pie chart that shows our calls for service by our beats and even the beats of all the municipalities. The orange, which is the biggest, along with the blue, are normally papers and things that happen in the incorporated areas. So you guys as board members may hear somebody out on the street say, why is a county sheriff's deputy in the city of Kankakee, or why are they in the village of Bourbonnais? Because we are the only agency in the county that serve papers. Bourbonnais does not serve their own papers. The sheriff statutorily is required to serve papers in the entire county. So that's why sometimes you'll hear that. I've heard it, I've seen it, I've had people complain about it. They think we're out doing something else we shouldn't be, but no, we're serving papers. So, yep. These are the last 11 years of accidents. If you look at the last 3 years, they have significantly decreased, which is a good thing. Dating back, you got numbers in the 500s. The last 3 years, our average has been 471. And these are accidents all across the county, so including state roadways. Accidents by month, again, tracking from our standpoint, January, November, and December are the highest, probably for obvious reasons. It gets darker earlier. A lot of times weather is not so good. So there's a reason that those times are, or those months are highest. So, but it's good information to have. Same thing, this is hours of the day, accidents by hours of the day. Again, we track this stuff for our resource allocation so we can appropriately allocate resources at the appropriate times as best we can. 4 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m. seem to be the highest. Again, it gets dark, people are coming home from work, we're all trying to get in a hurry coming home from work, we all want to get home from work fast, so that probably contributes to that. This is just a map of all the accidents across the county in 2025. This is a heat map of all the accidents in 2025. The bigger the area, the more accidents there are. So this next slide is our written warnings compared to traffic violations. As you can see, 50% of all tickets written are citations, 43% are warnings. I like to round those to say basically you got a 50-50 chance of getting a ticket when you get stopped. And most of it, as we've probably seen in the last couple weeks, comes down to attitude and your response to the police. It's as simple as that. This next slide documents our fatals over the last 11 years, along with homicides. The black line are fatal accidents. The red line is homicides. So it's good to see that number trending down. As we often say, one is too many on both of them, fatals and homicide, fatal accidents and homicides. But those are the numbers. These are, this next chart are domestic battery case reports from 2005 to 2025. This goes back 20 years. You might want to look, you might want to think, why are they so high back in 2005? They've been more broken down as we move forward because of statute changes and what's a domestic and what's not. So those numbers, they have stayed fairly consistent. And those are just our reports. Those are just reports in Kankakee County. Those are not countywide. Civil process papers, another statutory requirement, as I said before, that the sheriff serves papers. And those numbers have dropped a little bit. There are private companies out there that are serving papers as well. So some firms some lawyers may use private servers. It's certainly their choice. But from a law enforcement standpoint, it is the sheriff's responsibility to serve papers. On the jail side, you've got bookings for the last 11 years from 2015 to 2025. If you look at 2020, you can see a huge drop. That was obviously during COVID. There wasn't a lot of people out. There wasn't a lot of people getting arrested, or as many, I guess. And then those numbers kind of climbed back up. And then we went back down in 2024. If you remember, the SAFE-T Act came into effect on September 18th of 2023. And so those numbers dropped a little bit. They have started to go back up, and we'll see what the future holds. These are bookings by agency, and over the last 10 years, and if you look between the sheriff and Kankakee City, both of those agencies combined for about 60% of all the bookings into our jail. Very similar to our calls for service that we talked about a little earlier. These are locals. This is just 2025, and again, that number stays fairly consistent with about 60% of county and city who are the main agencies who are bringing individuals into jail. Not that everybody else isn't, but obviously our numbers are a little bit bigger than some of those smaller municipalities. The bookings by month, again, we do this as well at the jail. Kind of determines our resource allocation when we, where our busy times of the year are. And for some reason it's March. The only thing I can think of that happens in March is it starts getting warmer out, and maybe people start doing a little more activity outside. Other than that, the numbers remain fairly consistent across the entire 12 months. St. Patrick's Day, yeah. That's right. Again, bookings by hour of the day, which obviously, again, helps us with resource allocation where we have to put our people. You probably heard the phrase, nothing good ever happens after midnight. So that's a time that's one of the higher times, as well as 4 and 5 o'clock. Anything that's going on during the day, including court. Sometimes people are coming, getting arrested at the courthouse, so those numbers jump up. And again, they start back up at 11 o'clock and midnight. So our afternoon shift is the busiest time for new arrests to come in and new bookings to come in. These are local inmates only by gender and race. And if you look at the two numbers, which are they actually surprised me, because obviously we're looking at race and when or who's coming in, and if you look at the ones who are being booked in, there's 1,200 63 black, 1,176 white. So that's fairly close of 50-50 from a race standpoint. However, the number that we have in custody jumps to about 60% black, 35% white. And the only logical explanation now with the Safety Act is that there are more detainable offenses committed by blacks, which is the reason that they're in custody, because they can't bond out. So.
And Chief, Sheriff, what are the types of crimes that blacks are held in custody more so than whites?
Well, I don't have that information, Steve, in front of me, but we can certainly look.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's got to be detainable now. So, or a reason to detain them. So those are the two, obviously, the two factors that, who gets arrested and all that. Obviously, are the police agencies, but who stays in jail at this point is not up to the sheriff's office or any other law enforcement agency. So, but I do have some numbers as far as crimes that what people are getting booked for, and that's on our top. And this is no surprise given the Safety Act and nobody showing up to court. There's 1,300 people in 2025 got booked in because they didn't show up to court, a failure to appear warrant. You've heard me talk about these warrants, and if somebody comes in on a warrant that's non-detainable, they're not going to stay. Police are risking their lives out there every day to arrest people on a warrant, and they go to court, and because it's non-detainable, they get released. And it's the most frustrating thing for law enforcement. It's the most dangerous thing for law enforcement to serve the warrant, and that's the most frustrating thing for law enforcement to watch these people walk right out the door because there's no accountability anymore. Very frustrating. Domestic battery, obviously those numbers we talked about are local numbers. This number is the same. This is Kankakee County. This is the sheriff's office. DUIs, resisting police officers. Again, everybody wants to fight with the police now because they think they can, because quite frankly, unless they do great bodily harm or disfigure somebody, they're not going to get detained. So very frustrating for those of us in the law enforcement profession. So it goes down the line with others. So FOIA requests. If you remember back in 2022, Kankakee County, the sheriff's office was doing all the FOIAs that came into Kankakee County, with the exception of the auditor's office because he chose to do his own, but that was his choice. In 2022, we did 376 FOIAs. Same thing in 2023. We were doing the entire county with the exception of the auditor's office. That number went up to 455. In 2024, after June 10th, on June 11th, we returned all of the FOIAs, with the exception of the sheriff's office, back to, I don't even know who does them now, Anita and Joanne, and I'm sure you were very happy with us. So for that first 6 months through June, there were 293 FOIAs, and then the ones that we did through June 11th through December 31st was 660. So that number jumped significantly even for those 6 months. And then in 2025, we responded to 838 FOIAs. Obviously, that jump is because of body cam footage. People are FOIAing body camera footage. The frustrating part is sometimes it's not even a case that affects them. Maybe it's a friend of theirs, maybe it's an enemy of theirs. For whatever reason, they want to see the body camera, so they FOIA it because they can. We're trying to, working with some legislators to try to change that a little bit to where, we understand FOIAs are FOIAs, but, I don't think people understand the expense that we have to go through to get it. Right now, we have 2 people in our office doing FOIAs. every day. And that 838 number is not going down. So, you know, there may be a possibility at some point where we come back and say, we can't do all these anymore. We need another body. But we'll we'll do them as long as we can, and as long as we can, because of the time constraints on them. We're required to get them done in 5 days. We can request an extension, but the extensions are only good for so long as well. So, any questions on FOIAs? The next handful of slides, there's only a few left, and I'll go through them quickly. This is some medical information. In this first slide, basically says the average monthly census of males versus females. The orange across the top are females, somewhere around 2 or 3%. Or I'm sorry, those are numbers that are 22, 27. Those are average females. And then so you can see the small number of females that we have in custody. This is the average daily census and the number of individuals and referrals that we're taking off site for medical treatment. And that's by month. You can see 24, 20, 22, 18, 16, 12. And most of those, these are only Kankakee. These are only local inmates. So these aren't our feds or out of counties. Most of these referrals are local to our local hospitals. But there are some that require specialists that we have to go. We've been to Loyola in Chicago. We've been to Rush. We've been to Carl Clinic in Champaign. So these are things that we're required, you know, we have to do to treat individuals who come in who need specific treatment, because we know they don't take care of themselves on the street. But we're statutorily required to make sure that we care for them. Next slide, the offsite referrals basically is the same slide, just showing those numbers by themselves. Offsite referrals per 100 inmates. You can see that, you know, we have about 400 inmates. So in January, for instance, we would have probably transferred 20 to a medical appointment. In-house medical versus off-site encounters. You look at the numbers that our medical staff sees. The blue are in-house encounters. The orange are the off-site encounters, which is a number that we've seen. And then the gray line across the top is our average daily census. So the average intakes per day. So we are required by jail standards to medically screen every inmate who comes in here within 14 days. Now, we all know that with the Safety Act, people are coming in, they're getting out in a day. Those individuals aren't getting screened unless they have some sort of medical issue when they come in. Obviously, we're dealing with them, but they don't get the required screening that we have to do by jail standards, because we have 14 days to do it. So people are getting released the next day, so some of those aren't getting screened, but you can see still the number of screens that they are doing, because there are, you know, people staying. Medication review, we have a number of individuals on some medication. We try to limit the medication, because I know you might find this hard to believe, but sometimes inmates will crush the medication depending on what it is and snort it. Our medical department is the ones who pass the medication. We watch them swallow it. Some people cheek it, some people save it, some people hoard it. So we're always on guard for that, but that is obviously an issue in jails, not just in Kankakee, but everywhere. Medical grievances. You know, I've said this 100 times, I'll say it again. The individuals in custody, in our custody in Kankakee, get better care medically than anybody in this room. By far. By far. But like some inmates, it's never good enough. What you and I would get on the street, the individuals in custody are getting that and more. And because, you know, they don't take care of themselves on the street, so it's it's extra difficult for our medical staff to treat them because they've gone so long without medical care. Let's see here. Chronic care management. If you look down at the bottom, across the bottom, if you can read that, these are hypertension, diabetic, seizures, asthma, hyperlipidemia, whatever that is. Obesity management, and mental health. So you can see those numbers and what our medical staff is dealing with every day. Hospital visits. The blue line you see is emergency room visits, and the orange line is hospital admissions. So those who end up getting admitted to the hospital requires us to sit in the hospital room with that inmate with 2 correctional officers while they're being treated in the hospital. And mental health issues, we have the pilot program that we're dealing with, but this is somewhat separate than that. These are screenings that we do. The orange line are those who have been on suicide watch. Suicide attempts, if you can see it barely just in April. There's one little gray line where there was an attempt. The yellow line is the number of suicides, which I'm happy to report is 0 for 2025. And the other blue line, the lighter blue line, are those inmates who are in segregation for their mental health issues that they have going on. They cannot play well with others.
I got a quick question.
Yes.
If you have an out-of-county prisoner go to jail or go to the hospital, does the out-of-county pay for that correction officer sitting there?
So obviously our feds, yes, the feds pay for anything, but this is all Kankakee County.
Okay.
These are all local. This is all local numbers.
I was just thinking back to when we had Champaign and that.
Yes, but they did. They
They
paid
did.
for their own. They paid, and in fact, our mental health pilot program, because quite frankly, the mental health, those who are in custody and have mental health issues going on, those are the individuals more likely to have to go to the hospital because they do stuff that, whether they fight with our staff, whether they bang their heads on the wall, whether they do things to harm themselves. Those are the individuals who are going to go to the hospital. And so all these individuals from out of county, the county where they came from is responsible for their medical care. So, but this is all local. This is all of our local stuff.
Thank you.
And then lastly, I think that was it on the thing. I got a couple things just to add to the medical. Our medical department deals with an average of 672 medical requests every month. Every month. And I hate to keep going back to us, but I don't know of anybody in this room who can. I know there's probably a couple, probably a doctor. He can probably get whatever he wants. But if I want medical care, or if I want to see my doctor, in all likelihood, I may not be able to see my doctor that day. These guys are able to see somebody a hell of a lot quicker than we do. So think about that. Right. Well, there's some truth behind that, and we've had people who have.
But you have to do a detainable offense.
We have had individuals who have claimed that they got arrested so they could get their diabetes under control, or, I mean, it just happens. Not so much anymore because just what you said.
Yeah.
The safety. Medical grievances are low. Fortunately, as we talked about suicide, we also had no deaths in 2025, which is always good. We have chronic care that was on one of the slides, hypertension being the biggest, whether that's because of a current health issue or whether they have hypertension because they're in jail. I don't know that we can prove. So we have a large number treated for hypertension. So just to recap, most of these people don't take care of themselves on the street. Most don't follow up once they're released. So they get care, then they don't follow up. It's a difficult job in our medical department because of the lack of treatment and the lack of the ability to find records. So everybody who has a doctor knows that their doctor has a record of history going back to whenever you started seeing them. So it's tough to get records, which makes the treatment more tougher as well. So our medical department does an outstanding job in caring for the inmates we have in custody. And as I said, they don't wait for an appointment. And lastly, two things. All these medical appointments and everything else cost a lot of money. We all know that. I can tell you that just in prescription and hospital care, because of the individual that we have who handles all of our hospital billing, who works with all the public aid codes, the Medicaid codes, and everything else, our hospital and prescription bills amounted to $887,314. After going through the codes, after going through all the savings and trying to find ways to save money, of that, we paid $435,607. So she has saved this county $451,000 in 2025. So she is worth every penny we pay her. So, and then lastly, I will remind you again, especially with everything going on in the news, and everybody's concerned about our budget woes here in Kankakee County. The fact that we are unable to house for ICE because of Governor Pritzker has cost this county about $25 million over the last 4 years. So I will leave you with that nugget.
You're supposed to end on a positive.
Well, I reversed them. The positive was first about the money we saved.
Okay.
So, oh, thank you. That's all I got.
Any other questions for the sheriff? What about the last drone?
Yeah, I do. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Sheriff Downey, again, thank you very much for the service you provided at my mom's visitation. But, next Monday, the 19th, is the deadline for bill submission for the spring session, which is upon us in the legislature. And as much that you are one of the big wigs in terms of the Illinois Sheriff's Association, what's on the horizon in terms of any bill submission regarding the Safety Act? I may have missed that, when you first gave your presentation.
Nope, I didn't, believe it or not. So, of course, in typical Springfield and Illinois fashion, the Senate is in session this week, and the House is in session next week. Please help it make sense. So we don't know. We have suggested some proposals that some people are working on. We'll see what they do. Both the governor and the Speaker of the House, Welch, have both said that they're willing to tweak the Safety Act. I don't know what their definition of tweak is, so we'll see, because I think we've provided some common sense things that will help our communities be safer. Whether or not they want to do that is going to be up to them. I saw in an article, I believe yesterday, that Speaker Welch said with the 60 Democrats they have, that if all 60 aren't in favor of it, it's not even going to get called. So he wants to tweak it on one hand and not call it on the other. So typical Springfield double talk, which is very frustrating.
But what specifically has been on the horizon? I mean, you guys got something in the bank in terms of what you're going to submit?
We do, and I don't believe that it's been presented to the appropriate people as of yet. So at this point, I'd rather not say.
Okay.
We'll find out here in the next week or so where it's going, and I will certainly update the board as to what we presented and the reaction and the response we get.
I've always maintained that there should have been a pilot project for the Safety Act in terms of just identifying Cook County, essentially, for the Safety Act. And the other 101 counties wouldn't be having to contend with that because of the fiscal implications, the crime implications as well too. So I think I still maintain that I concur with State's Attorney Rowe in terms of giving the judges more power and discretion, as well as incorporating some more of the crime categories for being criminals being detained. I think that's kind of simple, but you know, like you're saying, you know, there's problems with getting some of these bills called.
And without going too much into it, that's one of the issues that has been brought forward. So,
yep. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
I asked you about the drone, this last drone.
Oh yeah, the last drone. What about it?
How you found them in the...
Yeah, so Bradley had some car burglaries going on, or somebody who was checking cars. And again, we say car burglaries, and if you leave your door unlocked, it's a heck of a lot easier to get in somebody's car. And most of the car burglaries that we deal with, countywide, all agencies are dealing with people who leave their stuff unlocked. And so there was somebody rummaging through cars. Bradley called, he took off. Bradley called us. We have a drone on, we have somebody with a drone on duty 24/7. Somebody's got the drone. And we went out with the thermal imaging drone and found him, followed him, and it was kind of over back by Bradley West. They walked out of the trees, and we had, between Bradley and the sheriff's office, we had a couple of cars there waiting with lights on, and he kind of came out. And if you watched it on what we posted, you can see him raise his hands. And he did admit to actually going through some cars, and my guess is he probably came to court and got released. No fault of the judges or state's attorney or anybody, but that's the Safety Act.
Mm-hmm.
So he probably didn't learn anything.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Up next, Animal Control, Carrie Laird. In the package, you have a copy of her monthly report. Take a motion to approve that. Ms. Andrade, and second by Mr. Llewellyn. Hi, Carrie.
Good morning. For the report, one thing to point out, at the bottom under animals adopted, we had 32 animals that were transferred to rescue, which is helpful for us, and 6 of them that were adopted. We did develop a new rescue partner recently, and last week they came down and took 13 animals from us, and they're coming back again this week to take more from us. So it's nice to have those partners in the area and people who can adopt as well. So I don't really have anything for the report.
I got a question. Thank you very much, and a hallelujah for incorporating the city of Kankakee in the contract. Can you give us any details on that? Because I know you guys worked and worked and worked and worked on that forever and a day, and I really appreciate your efforts.
Sure, yeah, I spoke with Chief Kidwell yesterday, and we are right now trying to get their department on track with what we will go out for and what things that are in the contract and things like that. So after speaking with him, I gave him a list of things, and he's going to bring it to his department, and hopefully everything will run smoothly in the future.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions for Carrie? We have a motion to, Ms. Andrade.
I would just like to thank you for coming into my district. We had a house trapped a cat, and I had to call you guys to come out and help the cat because it was trapped for 3 days. Somebody who lives in the neighborhood, they know what I do in our community, contacted me, didn't know the proper steps to do. I didn't either. I had to get a hold of my alderman. They told me what to do a little bit, so I was able to call you guys. You guys came out and let the cat go. Couldn't do anything for you guys to take in the cat.
Right, I think the cat, it was easier to let it go than it was a transfer without it. It was a little bit spicy, so I do recall the situation.
Just want to tell you guys thank you.
Well, thank you.
It was, I think, below, we were -0 degrees.
It was cold. Within those 3 days, the cat had been on that in that trap, from what I was told.
So thank you.
Sure, thank you. Thanks for calling.
Any other questions? We have a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Up next, the coroner, Mr. Gessner. In the package, you have a copy of Bob's monthly report and the monthly receipts of money. Take a motion to combine and approve. Mr. Lowry and Ms. Andrade. Good morning, sir.
To you too.
Mine's gonna be real short. We've had 123 calls in the month of December. Basically, we have 5 pending out of that right now. The doctor signs about 38 of them, and the coroner signs the rest of them. So we're pretty good on that aspect. We've had 2 just recently come in as overdoses, and 2 of them, both of them had the powerful drug of carfentanil in them, which is 10,000 or more powerful, which is gonna, that's about it. So we ended up we had to change. I won't get my 25 to you like the sheriff just did until next month here. We're still got 5 pending out of that month there to give a final total of that. So other than that, that's about all I got. I'm getting lined up with a lot of classes to teach coming up here, which is exciting for me, to all the way from grade school all the way up to college, which is really good to keep our numbers down on overdoses. So.
Good. Any
Mr.
questions?
Chairman, I got a question. Yeah, I do. Thank you from a personal perspective. Bob, appreciate it. Do you ever go to KCC and speak to the students out there? Malvina Calvin is the honcho out there for law enforcement. Do you go out there and make presentations or speak to some of those wannabe law enforcement students?
Yes, I haven't in the last couple of years. I actually, at the last Chiefs meeting we had last month, that I talked to her about that, and she wants to put me in there for a couple of classes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that would be beneficial. Yeah, you got a story to tell, and let them know the real deal about what you do.
I got you on that. So other than that, that's all I got. Any questions at all?
Any other questions?
I should have a report next month here for you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Did we vote on it? Okay. Any old business to come before the committee? Any old business? Any new business? Mr. Carrico? Is there a second to the motion? Everybody, Mr. Crutcher. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.